Hey Bookie, welcome to the Ratchet Temple. We are talking about Baddies East episode 18. It has been a really awkward season. I stopped watching it, but honestly making this review is the only way that I can convince myself to finish. So let's pick up where we started. Suki and Rollie are throwing hands and wigs and whatever insults they can hurl at each other. Meanwhile, Sapphire is practicing the mannequin challenge. Meanwhile, Mariahlynn is in her confessional being lame and cringe as usual. I am so disappointed that Baddies chose Mariahlynn to bring her Polly Pocket wet seal outfits and Dr. Seuss rhymes. But you know what? I am proud of Rollie because for the first time in Baddies history, her wig got snatched and we saw braids and a clean scalp. And let's just count that as a win, okay? Anyway, the girls are hollering back and forth. Like, the insults are getting low. They're talking about kids. They're talking about vaginas. And there's a lot of actual, like, low-key colorist and anti-black insults thrown back and forth. So that's problematic as hell. But I really don't expect anything more from these low vibrational pit bulls and skirts and lashes. So y'all know if Rollie is having an argument, E.T. is somewhere hiding behind her ass crack waiting to come out and insert herself. And she did. So she baptizes Suki with her water bottle. And rightfully so, Suki is pissed. She tells Sapphire, go get that hoe. And Sapphire continues to practice the mannequin challenge. And what's crazy to me is Rollie sits in her confessional talking about, that's not your dog. You can't just sick her on me. But that's exactly what you do with E.T. Is that not what she did at the race car thing? Like, the hypocrisy. Anyway, let's just take a moment and talk about E.T., y'all. When E.T. popped on my screen with this confessional look, I literally gasped. I gasped, not because she's ugly, right? Like, E.T. is not an ugly girl. I gasped because it's just so unbecoming. Like, it is just not fitting. She looks like a clown. She looks like a drag queen. And you know why E.T. looks like that? Because this isn't her essence, right? Like, as women, we're all beautiful and we all have our own unique style. But what happens when you come directly out of a state of survival, directly from the hood, directly from being basic, you can't just put on the costume of a bad bitch. You can't put on a costume of the it girl or that girl and have it be believable. We don't believe you. Like, yes, you have the colorful wigs and you have the like catchy phrases and you're speaking in TikTok lingo, but babe, look at the way you sit, like you slouch. Come on. If we're talking about real energy, y'all, this is a Ratchet Temple. I know I'm getting deep, but like, I have to talk about what I really see. There is no energy. There's no depth, right? There's very little soul that we see behind E.T. She is literally just a hollow shell, right? Trying to show up in whatever way she needs to get to the money. And that's why it's dangerous to manifest big opportunities really quickly when you're in that state of survival, because then you show up with half of the resources and the tools that you need. So you climbed up really high, but you're going to have to fall really hard to learn the lessons, right? That you could have sustained your success with if you had learned before. But you were putting all your eggs in the basket of Zeus and fame. And now you're here and guess what, babe? Everybody hates you. I'll get up off her though. Back to the mess. Sapphire and Suki are low-key getting into it now because Suki is like, why are you not sliding? And I really do feel like two things. I feel like Sapphire is slow, respectfully. And I also feel like she was in a bit of a freeze or like shock state because she really did stay by Suki's side that whole time and like, you know, looked like she was holding her back. But babe, you're not supposed to hold back your friend when she's getting tagged. You hold back your friend when she's winning, right? Like, you got to do something. And I think that she really thinks that because she stood by Suki's side that whole time, that she was being loyal and that she had her back. Anyway, more chaos ensues. E.T. is up to her shenanigans. She's pouring liquor on Suki's wig. Again, this is why we don't like you. It's just shenanigans and stunts. Ugh. do something interesting. Anyway, Suki hops on the table, more insults about hygiene and who's darker than who on what part of the body. I literally don't care. Anyway, the House A girls are on the sprinter, and I just want y'all to take a good look at the dynamics of who's here, because Natalie is very strategic. She surrounds herself with followers, and Rollie, who is literally just a human bulldozer. That is the only reason that she has aligned herself with these women, because there's not a lot that they offer outside of reinforcing her power. But to be honest, it's just making for an interesting and lame season. But anyway, back inside, Suki is telling Sapphire that she's fake for not defending her, for not sliding over these girls. And Suki leaves. She gets on the sprinter. She's talking to Bobby Lights, and Sapphire follows after. And basically, Bobby Lights gets to cussing her out because he's trying to tell her, like, you were being fake. You did not have her back. And she's popping shit on the van, like, I did. But then gets in the confessional crying. And I don't know. It's very confusing. And like I said, I think the girl is in shock, or that she's truly slow. Like, I'm going to give Sapphire a tiny bit of grace, but it was trifling. Because in the very next scene, she goes to the girls that she low-key sided with over Suki. And, you know, of course, they're patting her on the back, telling her she did the best she could. But as soon as she leaves, they get to talking about her friend. Like, Rollie got a video of her pulled up from OnlyFans talking about Suki dirty, and she be squirting brown water. I don't know. I don't want to know, Jesus. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go pray right now and get this off of me. The next scene is just basic, you know, Baddies editing. House B gathers to talk about the mess, and then House A does. But House B is always going to be more of a vibe, a little bit more positive. They recap that they don't believe Smiley. Ahna is talking about Scotty and Natalie, and she's like, maybe it's deeper. Who knows, babe? You know. Share the tea. She also points out, like, y'all notice how Natalie and Scotty always come to blows, but Suki and Sapphire didn't, because they actually respect each other. Yeah, great eye, Ahna. But anyway, yeah, they practice TikTok dances and they go off being cute into the sunset. On the other side of the villa, Natalie, Mariahlynn, Rollie, and Sapphire are meeting at this empty, sad looking table and talking about the mess as well. Natalie is blaming Scotty as usual, and Rollie is telling Mariahlynn to mind her goddamn business, because apparently Mariahlynn was saying that Scotty was being weird. I don't care. I don't care, y'all. And then, as if I couldn't care any less, E.T. hobbles in on the shoulders of the security guards, and I really don't even understand why. Like, I don't understand why, because she really added nothing to the conversation. Everybody talks about Sapphire and Suki's mess, and they're just like, you've been riding for her. But riding for me in the past does not mean that you get to stand there while two bitches tag team me. What? We're not talking about before, we're talking about now. But they actually sit down and talk about it, and this was a productive conversation, y'all, at least in my opinion. Sapphire comes and like tries to hit Suki with the I'm sorry you feel hurt, and Suki's like, no bitch, you need to take accountability for what you did, not for how I feel. And yeah, Sapphire is just trying to skate and hit the matrix to the accountability, but Suki did a really good job at holding her feet to the fire, because she's like, if you feel like you have my back 100%, why are you sitting here and apologizing? If you feel like you could have done more to defend me, what is there to apologize for? And, you know, Sapphire puts on her big girl panties, and she's like, you're right. Like, I don't have no excuse, and I should have done more. And this is when I recognize that she's slow. She is slow, y'all. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful, like, intellectual way. I mean that the girl has clearly some deep emotional and relationship blockages or trauma or problems, something. But that's usually the type of stuff that can get you into a relationship like this. Like, let's be very clear. This is a pimp and hoe relationship. Suki is absolutely a pimp, right? In the sense that she has all the power. She has the power, just like that's why she said so many times, and we go home, who's there? I'm your savior. You need to be loyal to me. That's a very dangerous friendship relationship to be in. That's what we see with Natalie and Scotty. The only difference is Suki actually likes Sapphire. She respects her a little bit more. To Natalie, Scotty is completely disposable. And, we'll talk about them actually in the next scene. But in the meantime, Suki and Sapphire come up with their little hood solutions. And basically, Suki said, you're going to have to fight E.T. at some point. And we good until then. So they hug and make up. But you can clearly see by the look in Sapphire's face that, like, all is not well. And that's what I mean. Like, is a relationship that's this heavy and this taxing really worth it? I don't know. Next scene, though, we have Scotty coming to Natalie's door to have a conversation. Per usual, Natalie is using Scotty as a scapegoat for all of her problems, and Scotty has had it. Scotty has had it. I know this rage. This is the rage when you are finally ready to confront a narcissist, right? Because a narcissist is always going to spin everything back on you. And at some point, you recognize that all this blame game stuff is just a deflection. And you're like, no, we going to stick on the point. We going to stand on business. And that's what Scotty did. Scotty just threw hands. And I never thought I'd see the day. They both got some good hits in, y'all. But honestly, by the end, they were just pulling hair. They get broken up and compare battle wounds. Natalie swears that she looks great because she doesn't have any scars, but the wig atop your head is more concerning than any scar on Scotty right now. Honestly, truly. But Scotty is knotted up because Natalie was wearing her wedding ring, so there were some lacerations to the forehead. But anyway, Natalie tells Scotty that she's entitled, and then everybody else, the other castmates, always come complaining to Natalie that Scotty's getting special treatment. And if you've heard anything from anybody else who reviews the Baddies or Zeus network, then you know that the rumor is that Scotty gets special treatment because she is, let's just say, having relations with the producer, Lemuel. So yeah, there's a lot of dynamics going on here around, again, power, favoritism, and leverage and control, right? Because at one point, Natalie had all the control over Scotty because she was her access, right? You want, to be on another episode, you want to get to the bag, you got to go through me. When Scotty, allegedly, right, connects to somebody that is above Natalie's head, Natalie is now indispensable. And I think Natalie is feeling that shift in power, and she doesn't like it, right? She doesn't like that it's getting to Scotty's head because Natalie needs to be in control. Natalie surrounds herself with flunkies, not women who have self-esteem. Oh, no. So, yeah. Anyway, they hug and make up. Who gives a shit? I don't care about what these girls do. House B is in the Sprinter, headed to the club. They're looking cute. They're being a vibe as usual. And we have House A on the other hand. And I just look at their bus. Oh my God. And it just looks like poverty, truly abysmal, like negative vibes, 0 out of 10. Anyway, they get to the club, they go inside, and everybody's magically best friends again. Suki and Scotty pull up, and low-key at this point, I start feeling bad for Sapphire because Sapphire has become a shell of herself. She don't know how to move. She is frozen. She is frozen by somebody else's control. That's sad, y'all. And I want liberation for the girlies, but only if they want it for themselves. So if you're willing to sell your soul and your behavior and your actions for the next Gucci slides and being on Zeus Network, then that's on you. E.T.'s here, looking sad. Ho, why is you here? Why did you come? Stay at home. Anyway, Natalie says, y'all, let's have a group hug. Suki says, no, y'all fake. And apparently the tea is that Mariah wants to fight Suki. So that's some of the drama we'll see in the next episode. That was the mess. I am done. Goodbye and good night.